Hello. Today's camping and wilderness enthusiast has a number of different ways to start a fire that range from simply turning on the propane stove in the mobile home to simple magnesium fire starter sticks with a striker that can be ignited with your knife, or windproof and waterproof strike anywhere matches. But how did our ancestors do it back in a time when there were no even matches? What did they use? What were the tricks that they used to successfully start and keep a fire burning in a time when cutting edge technology was a fire steel and a piece of flint? And the answer to that question is char. I'm sure we've all seen movies where the intrepid mountain man goes out and he gathers up a bundle of twigs and sticks and stuff, and he takes his firestone, his flint, a couple whacks with the flint on the fire steel, and he's got himself a raging fire going. And we all wish it could be that simple, but we know it's not. Char allowed you to successfully capture a spark and hold it, wrap your tinder around that burning piece of char material, and then get your fire going. And what char material is simply nothing more than a pre-burned flammable material. It's actually not to the point of being completely combusted, but essentially what this is carbonized material. It's had most of the natural material burned, and it's left it in a carbon state. And how do you make this material? Well, back then you could simply poke through your fire. You'll find carbonized material in the fire itself, and you can take that, break it up a little bit, use that, or you can make char. And being the ingenious people that they were, our ancestors devised ways to produce a char that was a little bit more reliable than what you could get out of the fireplace itself. We've all heard the term tinder boxes, and normally today we associate tinder boxes with these really nice replicas that are made. These are usually out of German silver or brass, but real tinder boxes of the day were made out of steel, lightweight steel. This particular one I made a number of years ago out of a secret box, and it works very well for the purpose. And in order to char material in this box, 2 holes are made in the top and the bottom of the box. Usually it's best to start with as small a hole as possible, 1/16 inch, 2 millimeter hole to start. This one's been used quite a bit. The holes are starting to open up. You can make these boxes today out of like an Altoids tin. Good place to start. These things they're fairly well made and they'll burn well. Punch a couple holes in it. And then for char material, a number of different items can be used. I personally like 100% cotton. You can get that I cut up my wife's old tea towels. That's one way you can get it. Old t-shirts that are 100% cotton that don't have any polyester or plastic material. You don't want any kind of polyesters or nylons in there because they're not going to they're not going to carbonize, they're just going to melt. And they're not going to produce an acceptable char. Another good way to find material for char making is plain old cotton balls. Unroll them and go ahead and put those in your box. And you want to fill the box up fairly full of material, and then what you do with this is set it on a fire. It can be a campfire, can be a stove in a house. If you do that, I would recommend that you have it in a well ventilated area, have your range hood going and windows open, because as this material is consumed, as it's carbonized, you're going to see a jet start coming out of the top. Here you're going to hear it hiss like a little blowtorch up there. And that is carbon monoxide that's being expelled as that material is consumed. So, and of course, this is a health hazard to everybody involved. So you want to make sure it's in a well-ventilated area. Anyway, set this right on your campfire stove and let it cook. It's a good idea that you sit there and watch it. This isn't for somebody that doesn't have the patience to sit there and pay attention to what's going on, because this little jet that's coming out of here like the blowtorch, as that starts to subside down, it's kind of like making popcorn. As that starts to subside down, then you know your material is about fully consumed. If you let it go anymore, once the jet starts, if you let it go anymore, the material in here will end up burning up and turning into ash. So once your little jet is pretty well just going like that, you know you've got pretty good amount of char. Take the box off the heat, pliers, glove, whatever. Don't grab it with your bare hands because it's going to be hot. Set it aside and let it cool, and then you'll have your char material in the box ready to use. I like to carry one of these with me in any of the kind of small survival kits that I carry. It's really lightweight, and if you don't have any cotton material, if you're out in the woods, a number of different sources can be made or used for char. Ash shavings, bark off a willow can be stripped down, oak bark can be broken up, oak limb can be broken up. As long as you want to find a dead limb. You don't want to use green wood, it doesn't do too well. So any kind of dead limb material that you can find, you can go ahead and shave it into shavings, place that in your box, carbonize it just like you would the cotton. But really the cotton does produce a much harder and hotter spark than what you're going to get out of carbonized wood. You can also use char in conjunction with these, the blast matches or the magnesium stones. I've used these a couple times on just plain tinder and had the frustration of just watching it flash up and not actually catch a spark into the material. By using a bit of char with it, the char will definitely catch the spark and hold the flame, and it'll burn hot enough that you can generally dry up the tinder enough to get it going. So that's a great thing. Good idea, good tip, good stuff to have with you anytime you're camping or in a survival situation. Thank you for watching.